Hey everybody, I'm Jackson Mitchell, joining you right now from Brooklyn, Arkansas. The time is 4:15 Central Standard Time. Sorry about that. But we have some live coverage of the SB 4 Senate Bill 4 in Texas. This is something we are all have been waiting for and are watching. Um, right now, there's like no information coming from the Supreme Court, but right now, SB 4 would have gone into effect. It is 4:16, and at 4 p.m. is when this said bill would have gone into effect because that is when the Supreme Court's ruling over it expired. We have not received any more rulings coming from there. So at this point, it appears that that law is in effect. I'm waiting to see if we have any other information coming from any of our sources. I'm going to check with Governor Greg Abbott's uh, Twitter page. Oh, see if Governor Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, said anything. Oh, I just saw his account on his Twitter page. Okay, it does not appear yet, but we're going to talk what this bill would do, why it matters, why it is so important. But first, I do need to fix my camera just a little bit and turn you over a little closer here. So SB4, which I think I'm able to pull the document up for you guys, the PDF file. So, oh, now on your screen you should be able to see that PDF file of what that is looking like, why that matters so much, why it's so important, and we're going to go through some of that information first. But right now, I'm also going to go. Sorry, I'm just getting. Right now, there's just nothing coming out of here, but 4 p.m. is when this one expires. So that is something we are following. And if you guys have anything to comment or anything to say, you can do so. And I will read those and talk about those if you have any questions or anything like that. Uh, Checking on a ruling. No ruling just yet. We're going to go over that bill here in just a second. Okay, we do have a ruling in. Hold up here, guys. We do have a ruling in, and we are going to break that down for you guys here in just a second. I want to make sure this is up to date. March 18th, 2024. I'm going to wait for that ruling to come into our. It says Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito on Monday extended an order barring Texas officials from detaining and jailing migrants suspected of crossing the U.S. southern border without authorization under a new state immigration law known as SB 4 that the Biden administration has called unconstitutional. So this is the new development coming out of there. Again, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito ruling to keep an order and extend that same order that is in place right now. All right. So that is just in. Let me put it in a lower third for you guys. And then I just put it in a lower third. There we go. Breaking an order extended for Texas Senate Bill 4. Let's go over what Texas Senate Bill 4 states, what it says, what it means. Okay. Let's just go over some key moments here. Basically, what it would do, we'll go over the summary here. Oh, there is no summary, but let's see if we can't scroll down past these definitions. So it says, I'll read it here. Basically, what this would do is it would allow Texas local law enforcement to arrest people who have crossed the border illegally or migrants who, I'm sorry, it'd be immigrants who crossed illegally, and would give them a misdemeanor. So, and here we go. It says, uh, not less. Okay, this is police department is found by a court of law and having intentionally. Okay, that is for police. Is what it sounds like. Trying to find the exact. Okay, I, I'm just trying to kind of give you guys a summary of this rather than reading it all word for word. What this would do is it would give someone a misdemeanor. It would allow local Texas law enforcement to arrest. Stand by here. It would allow them to arrest migrants who crossed immigrants rather who crossed illegally over the southern border. So if a Texas law enforcement were to catch you, you would be prosecuted and you would receive it's a misdemeanor in Texas. So that is something extremely interesting, I should clarify. Interesting. So something we are going to continue following here in Brooklyn News. Again, the ruling just in by Justice Alito, ruling on Monday to extend the already put in place order that bars Texas officials from detaining and jailing migrants. Now, this all comes after Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 4 in Texas. And I'm seeing if we have any new information coming from Greg Abbott, coming from the governor, after the Senate and House had passed legislation that, again, would allow Texas local law enforcement to arrest immigrants who crossed illegally. And we do not see anything coming from that, any of his social media pages. We're going to look at social media here, see if we have anything coming from Texas. Again, this rule just continued. Okay. Let's see if we can't talk about kind of why this bill was even put into place, why it even exists. This bill was signed into place and even exists because of what Texas legislators and Texas congressmen and women say are a lack of doing by the United States federal Congress, not state Congress, but at a federal level, in the legislative branch. And how they have done not enough for the border, and Texas claims that they are having to step up. But the Biden administration has called SB 4 unconstitutional, and now it has a loss of lawsuits, many lawsuits against SB 4 and against the state of Texas over SB 4. And this would basically have been put into pause. The Supreme Court has not made a complete ruling on if this is unconstitutional or can this be allowed. So, and I think the last ruling, this all started when the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th District asked the Supreme Court to put the law on hold as the court challenge plays out. So we're just at this point still just at a standstill and are waiting a ruling. But right now, the orders being put into place are that it just blocking it. So that is something we are going to continue following. And guys, I'm just checking some different sources. This was just in about 16 minutes ago is when they ultimately decided to do this here. It was, I want to check when the last one was put in. I don't have the date in front of me. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to check a few news stories though and see kind of what's going on, what each news source is saying. So if we can go here now. And then let me go over here and do this. All right, this story from NBC News is showing you kind of this is the story they wrote, saying the Supreme Court on Monday extended a temporary block on a new Texas immigration law that is being challenged by the Biden administration. In an order issued by conservative Justice Samuel Alito, the court again imposed a temporary freeze on a lower court decision. The court said that the law would remain on hold pending further order. And I want to see if we actually have that order in yet. Is this the order? Yep. I do. Let's take a look at that order here. This is that order. Upon further consideration of the application of counsel for the applicant, their response, and their reply filed thereto, it is ordered that the stay issued on March 4, 2024 is hereby extended pending further order of the undersigned of the court. So, and again, that is by Samuel Alito, Justice Samuel Alito. So that is the order by the Supreme Court. Let's go back over here to this NBC News story and talk about it for just a second. They said the law originally was due to go into effect on March 10th, but Alito has now stepped in on 3 occasions to ensure the lower court ruling remains on hold. It says his most recent order was due to expire on Monday evening, meaning the law would have gone into effect absent Supreme Court action. Now, the ruling is now blocked indefinitely, giving all 9 justices additional time to determine what the next steps are. That was something I did notice when I was just going through some of the language of this right here. The order, that was something I did notice. I noticed that it basically said, it is ordered that the stay issued on March 4, 2024 is hereby extended pending further order of the undersigned of the court. So it just basically was not exactly saying a date when this would expire, when we would come back to it, things of that nature. So that is something that I did notice. And for anyone that is just joining us, I'm Jackson Mitchell with Brooklyn News, and we are live with breaking news coverage as Justice Samuel Alito of the Supreme Court of the United States has continued this ruling not allowing Senate Bill 4 in Texas to go into effect. Now, Senate Bill 4 would allow local law enforcement to arrest immigrants who cross the border illegally. Now, if you don't know anything about how that works, it is not local law enforcement that is allowed to arrest those that have crossed the border illegally and are not in the United States legally. It is federal authorities. So now what SB 4 would do, if it ever goes into effect, which at this point it doesn't appear it is going to, it appears we're going to have some type of possible argument or other consideration from the Supreme Court. We're going to have to see exactly what comes from there. But this has not gone into effect and will not go into effect until the 9 justices rule fully on it. So again, the order extended. Now, the thing we do here on Brooklyn News when we're doing our live coverage is in order to try not to push anything on anyone, as in a left agenda, a right agenda, anything of that nature, because we would never want to do that to you guys. We want to allow you to form your own opinion. We are going to show you different news stories from different sites, different things that we find. So that's what we were just showing you, that NBC News story. I'm going to see if we have any more information coming from this. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the different news going on back there. I want to see if the Texas Tribune has anything. Okay, I have this story from the Texas Tribune on what this bill would do. Oh, maybe here. Okay, let's just go through and kind of read some of these different things. The new law would make it a state crime to cross the Texas-Mexico border between ports of entry if a police officer has a probable cause to believe a person illegally crossed the Rio Grande. That person could be charged with a Class B misdemeanor, which carries a punishment of up to 6 months in jail for subsequent offensive. The person could be charged with a second-degree felony and face up to 20 years in prison. Now, it says if the migrant is convicted and has served their sentence, a judge will be required to order police to transport them to a port of entry. A judge could drop the charges if a migrant agrees to return to Mexico, and police could turn over migrant families to Border Patrol agents to avoid separating children from their parents instead of arresting them. No, it says, could an undocumented immigrant be arrested? The bill allows police to question and arrest anyone they believe entered Texas through Mexico illegally and is currently without legal immigration status. So, now it does say this, however, the author of the law has said it is meant to target people who have recently crossed the border, not undocumented immigrants who have been living in Texas for years. So, pretty interesting statement there as we continue to watch this all as it all plays out. So, again, this is a story from the Texas Tribune. And I think we can also take a look at the time in Washington. We should be able to. There we go. That is the time in Washington. Right now, that is what the time the Supreme Court is on, which the Supreme Court is in Washington, District of Columbia. That's something we're going to continue following. I'm going to search through here and see if we have anything coming from Texas. Any new information. See if we have anything coming from Texas here and check my sources. Okay, that's a story we were just taking a look at. Is a story from CBS, or I was reading off a story from CBS News. They're the first people I saw. Um, so this is going to be an interesting story that we are going to follow. But here's what we are going to do here on Brooklyn News. I'm going to leave you. Do we have a live shot of the Supreme Court? Let me check. If we do have a live, it does not appear we have a live shot of the Supreme Court. All right, please stand by. I am going to be right back here on Brooklyn News. I am going to leave you with these two things right here. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be right back in just a moment. All right, apologies. Had to step away there for just a few seconds. Okay. Something else to note about this is what the federal government is claiming, what the Biden administration is claiming is they need to leave it up to the federal government to determine what is done with the border. Basically, leave it up to the federal government to determine the policies and different things of that nature that are done with the federal government here. And we do not have a lot. I want to check with the live show of the Supreme Court because it'd be quite relevant to what we're talking about. Do not think we do. Okay, I do not think we do have that. And my dog may walk in frame here in just a moment. Oh, nope. Just moving spots. Okay. Let me see what else we can quickly talk about. Now, something to note, as I was just talking about the federal government deciding what to do with the border, is this story from CNN. If you remember, Senate Republicans blocked the bipartisan border deal and foreign aid package following months of negotiations. This was early February. It was pretty interesting because they were fine with it, but then Trump became skeptical of it, and even Mitch McConnell voted no for this. So we'll read a piece of this here. It says the failed procedural vote amounts to a stunning rebuke by Senate Republicans of a deal that would have enacted restricted border measures and was crafted in part by one of their own members, James Lankford of Oklahoma. Now, it does say the outcome leaves aid for Ukraine and Israel, two key U.S. allies, in jeopardy at a critical time. It says while Trump and other Republicans have attacked the border deal as too weak, it would have marked a tough change to immigration law and would have given the president far-reaching powers to restrict illegal migrant crossings at the southern border. The Wall Street Journal editorial board has called the deal the most, quote, the most restrictive migrant legislation in decades. And you know what? That is what some people want. Some people want a strict border policies. It's just that the federal government is really not doing much when it comes to migrants and immigrants coming in from the southern border. So pretty interesting to watch there. What we'll go to, I want to see if we have any more stories coming in. See if we have anything new that has come in within the KEA Oh, apologies. Give me just a second. Let me fix this. I'll read the story to you guys while I fix my camera. KERA said, hold up here, said Texas immigration enforcement law SB 41, one again put on hold by US. I think this was to say once. Okay. Hopefully this is a reliable news source. It says a Texas law that allows local and state police officers to arrest people suspected of being in the country illegally has been kept on hold rather by the United States Supreme Court pending further order from the court, which is what that document we were reading earlier that stated exactly that ruling from Justice Alito. It says the latest development came a few minutes after a previous pause in the law's implementation expired Monday afternoon. It says Senate Bill 4 was passed in late 2023 as a part of a priority package of immigration and border security bills championed by Governor Greg Abbott, which is the governor of Texas, and other far-right leaders. It says the legislation also permits local judges to order a migrant to return to Mexico regardless of their nationality. It says the bill was originally scheduled to take effect March 5th, something I noted earlier, but its implementation was temporarily blocked by U.S. District Judge David Ezra on February 29th. Ezra ruled the law is likely unconstitutional because the federal government has jurisdiction over immigration matters. It says the state of Texas appealed the ruling of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm sorry, it says the state of Texas immediately appealed the ruling to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals as the case is pending. The U.S. Supreme Court has once again delayed the law's implementation. It says the lawsuit. I want to see, is there a PDF file of this? Is that what that is? I'll see if I can't get a PDF file from these. Okay. It says the lawsuit challenging SB 4 was filed by the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas and the Texas Civil Rights Project on behalf of the El Paso-based Los Americas Immigrant Advocacy Center, American Getaways, and El Paso County. It says it names Texas Department of Public Safety Director Steve McGraw and El Paso County District Attorney Bill Hicks as defendants. Really interesting to see exactly what is going to occur on this bill. It says also a separate lawsuit was later filed by the U.S. Department of Justice, and the two were consolidated. The lawsuit alleged the law was unconstitutional because immigration enforcement is solely the responsibility of the federal government. And that's something that I was just talking about how, okay. So that was from KERA News for North Texas. We are also going to be taking a look at much more different things going on here. We're probably going to be live for about 45 minutes here, just very briefly compared to some of our last live streams. Just talking on anything that I see is there isn't really going to be any more new developments out of this today, at least. And let me post a few things on Twitter so I can give everyone an update of what's going on. Guys, give me just a second. Quick audio problem. Okay. Guys, I apologize. We are having to do this audio only. My sincere apologies here for just a moment is why we're going to be doing this audio only. My AirPods, which I'm using as audio, died just moments before we came on, right as I was mid talking, and it caused a whole entire catastrophe. But this is pretty much when our coverage is going to wrap up here on Brooklyn News. I want to thank everyone for watching. It's been one busy past little while here on Brooklyn News, but that actually, that story is actually pretty interesting to see, and I wanted to again apologize for having to do this audio only. We were standing by all day for this ruling, and now we got that ruling as again the Texas immigration enforcement law known as Senate Bill 4 is again put on hold by the U.S. Supreme Court by Justice Alito. This is going to be where our coverage wraps up right here on Brooklyn News. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Wish I could switch to my face, but I cannot. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, though. This is going to be the end of our stream. It's been a pretty interesting last little bit here. And again, thank you for tuning in. I'm trying to get something pulled up here for you guys so we can end our stream. Give me just a moment. Here we go. Oh, then that also failed. Oh, no, we got it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm Jackson Mitchell with Brooklyn News.